I enjoyed your presentation style. It seemed very natural, like you have a YouTube channel for a hobby. I probably do, yeah. If you were doing something important before and now are stopping to watch a video to learn about knees, then I'm not here to stop you. I'd do the same thing, honestly. Yo. So, because as much as one person asked for this, and also because I've been quite busy in the past week studying for the upcoming exams, I guess my school project is going to be content. Well, this is my channel, so I get to post whatever I want. I thought this doesn't classify as content, but I'm going to try to make it so. Even though I say don't judge in the title, I guess comment down in the comment section down below what you think I got on this project, and I'll pin the comment that gets the closest. But I haven't got the grade yet, so I'll do that when that comes out. Smash the like button, and let's begin.
Hey everybody, it's Martin. Today we're going to be talking about the knee, specifically bursitis. To understand this condition, we first have to understand what are bursae. Now, bursae are these fluid-filled sacs, as you can see on the right-hand side, that are typically found around large joints, such as the shoulder, hip, elbow, and of course the knee. These act as thin cushioning between bone and the surrounding soft tissue, such as the skin, muscle, and etc. This reduces the friction around the joint.
Okay, so I took forever to film this part because originally I was trying to have my face inside the video, but it took too many takes, and if I cut up the clips to actually make it sound good, you'll see a lot of jump cuts, so I'll be like going everywhere and stuff. So I just decided that I would get rid of my face and just record the audio, and that way you can't tell that I'm actually clipping different pieces of audio together to have a good presentation. And that's probably what will give me a little bit of a better mark on the presentation side because I honestly didn't even practice for this. I was literally reading off the slides, and you can't tell, which is great.
Now that we know what bursae are, bursitis is pretty much the inflammation of bursae. Now on the right hand side, there's a comparison between a healthy and inflamed bursa. As you can see, the prepatellar bursa is the one affected here. There was going to be a difficulty to move this joint, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of swelling as well. But we will cover these symptoms in a later slide. Additionally, to show the swelling even further, we have an image of the MCL bursa. As you can tell, this is supposed to be on the medial side or the inner side of the knee. Normally, the knee is not supposed to be that enlarged on the medial side, as there's a lot of fluid buildup because of the inflammation here, and that is definitely not normal.
Oh, yeah. On the previous slide, I was supposed to explain the regular anatomy of the knee, but apparently on my peer feedback, which I already read, so I guess kind of spoilers, someone said that I didn't explain enough of the anatomy, and I do agree, but then this presentation has to be below 7 minutes, and this video was already 6 minutes, 30 seconds long, so I don't know if I can actually explain the full anatomy of the knee in 30 more seconds of time, because I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious that the knee would just flex and extend, but I do explain this later on.
So, what are the causes of bursitis? So, here on the right side, we have Joe, and he's really busy being a plumber as there's not many plumbers in his city. And he's really busy at his job every day and he gets bursitis. So,
I don't know why I gave him the name Joe. I really paused for a really long time there in the recording, and it was really awkward. But the editing really saved this presentation, I guess.
what does Joe do? He kneels a lot. So, excessive friction or frequent pressure, such as kneeling, is one of the main causes of bursitis. Other causes are overuse or demanding activity, a sharp blow to the knee, for example, in sports like wrestling, a bacterial infection, or an existing condition can also affect your susceptibility to getting bursitis, such as gout or osteoarthritis. So, because of all this kneeling and excessive pressure on his knee, Joe, as a plumber, is more likely to experience bursitis. So, he's pretty sad now.
Okay, I was messing around in Photoshop as usual. Like sometimes you see these really dumb looking thumbnails from me, and I just decided to do that in the presentation because it's a little bit more fun than just having me speak in a monotone voice the entire time and just be like, yeah, bursitis. Hope you get educated. Yeah, let's keep going.
So, to visualize this, bursitis causes thickened bursa, and this will cause excess friction in the area and cause you a bit of pain. As you can see, this is, again, the prepatellar bursa.
Okay, you could hear the popping sounds from the mic. because for some reason I thought it was a good idea to pick up the mic and be like a DJ or an MC and actually just talk right into it when there's no actual wind or pop filter. So then I have to refilm a couple of parts because sometimes when I say prepatellar bursa, all you hear is just
which is superficial to the patella, but if the bursa is inflamed and therefore thickened, it can cause a bit more friction in the area between the bursa and the skin. Now I'm going to show you the visual representation that I use when imagining bursitis.
so I'm standing in front of a door. Why? Well, that's because the door is a hinge. And while our knees are synovial, I just realized that it really does look like I am slacking on my exercise routine, even though I didn't really gain weight. I just can kind of tell. I don't know. And also, I'm kind of red because of the lighting. I don't know if that makes me look different or not, but I do look very tired. Synovial joints, their movements are mainly hinge-like, being that they flex and extend like this, just with a little bit of medial and lateral rotation. But for all intents and purposes, the door will do. So here's a door that represents our knee. Select the knee, it can extend and flex. Full range of motion, it can even close. So let's just say that's the full range of motion. From here to here. This piece normally is for the resistance bands, but let's just say this is our prepatellar bursa. And when it's not inflamed and working normally, you can see a full range of motion. However, if the prepatellar bursa becomes inflamed, which, as you saw in the previous diagrams earlier, it becomes more superficial, expanding outwards to the skin, like this. When this happens, there's going to be increased friction and pressure around this area in the joint where this bursa is located, and as you can see, there's a decreased range of motion. I cannot close this door. As I push this, there's actually resistance, and this will lead to increased friction, swelling in the area, as you can see represented by this band coming out and further away, just like how the bursa in the image became quite enlarged. If I try to force this door to close, this will cause a lot of damage, which will be represented as pain.
Speaking of,
I'm proud of myself for thinking of that on the spot because honestly, this presentation was kind of monotone, in my opinion. Not super monotone, but I guess it's not super interesting without a better visualization of what's actually happening in the joint. So I think with that analogy, even though I don't think I gave the perfect visualization of what's actually happening at the joint, I think I did a good enough job to kind of show what the condition is actually doing to the joint. Also, you can see all those jump cuts, which is why my face is not there, because it's pretty obvious that I'm not the best presenter if you see that much editing. And hopefully you don't see that much editing in this video, because I'm kind of just winging it. It's presented as pain.
speaking of pain, that's one of our symptoms. So the symptoms of bursitis are, as we said, pain, warmth in the affected area, tenderness, swelling, limited mobility, and a fever if you have an infected bursa. So for treatment options, first and foremost, we have to talk about self-care options. Now, these would be antibiotics, over-the-counter pain relievers, and rice, which is
Originally I had a picture of actual rice there, not because I didn't know what the rice treatment is, but because I wanted to make a joke about rice. But then I just scrapped it because you had to cite every image, and I don't want to cite a picture of rice. So, yeah, that's why sometimes I reuse some of the images, so I don't have to recite every single one of them, because I had a lot of images at first. I had a picture of a volleyball player, had a picture of another plumber, had a picture of a construction worker, but I just don't think that was relevant. I also had a picture of a soccer ball. I don't know, for the athletes that get bursitis. But, yeah. Don't want to be sending pictures of rice out here.
basically rest, ice, compress, and elevate. This is to lower pain, inflammation, and swelling as much as possible. If you have a more severe case or recurring case, you would have doctor administered treatments, which are the following: physiotherapy, knee braces, a corticosteroid injection, aspiration, and if none of those work and bursitis keeps flaring back up, you may need to remove it via surgery. On the right hand side, this is the aspiration procedure in which a needle is put into the bursa and the fluid is drained. Usually, aspiration and surgery are the last line of treatments that are administered. So, what happens if bursitis is left untreated? If this is the case, then calcific bursitis may occur, in which there would be calcium deposits around the bursa, which, if you think about it in further detail, is not something that you would want in something that's supposed to lubricate the area. And this may result in permanent loss of movement. So next we have a study of 3,700 workers to investigate bursitis in the workforce. And this found that there was a high prevalence of bursitis in construction workers and food and meat processing workers. Overall, blue-collar workers were affected more often. And that kind of aligns with what we found earlier that plumbers, athletes, and maybe people like gardeners as well are more likely to be affected because of overuse of the joints or even kneeling in many cases.
I should have explained this more because prevalence is one of the parts of the rubric, and I just kind of glanced over it in 10 seconds, even though I had 30 more seconds to go. I guess that's probably where I'm going to lose some marks, but yeah.
So, in terms of prevention, you can wear knee pads to protect your knees from excess friction or pressure on the joint and on the bursa. You can also take breaks to stretch and rest, and you should probably avoid excessive squatting and general overuse of your joints in order to keep them healthy in the long run, because you don't want to have recurring bursitis. And the last thing is to achieve and maintain a healthy weight so that there's less pressure and friction in your joints. Now that Joe knows how to prevent himself from getting bursitis, he's happy. Yep, and that's about it. See ya.
Just like how I end my YouTube videos. Anyway, that's pretty much all I had for this video. I'm not going to just say see ya right after that. I still have to read the peer evaluations, so just bear with me. I thought that was actually decent now that I look back at it, but there's still something left to be desired. But let's just see what my peers think. So the first person says, such a good presentation. I really love the demonstration with the door to show your point. The only thing I would have liked to know is the prevalence in the general population, not just in the workforce. Otherwise, I really loved it. See, that was what I was fearing because I really just glanced over the little study in like 10, 15 seconds, maybe even less, honestly. As for that study, I just read the headline and I was like, nobody got time for this because I was procrastinating on working on this. So I just kind of took the main results and just ran with it. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to explain it with the general population as this person says, which I was going to do, but I just ended up saying screw that. I got too tired to work on it more. I was just said to myself, how much more is this work gonna increase my mark? Not by that much, then I'm not gonna do it. Second comment says, great job. I enjoyed the use of visuals, and you took a step further by showing the hinge movement of the impacted knee, which I thought was very creative. Thank you. The presentation was at a great pace and was very engaging. That's editing, not my presentation. There was enough detail to where I've gained a good understanding of the topic without having too much information to swallow. That was the point. I made the slides very minimalistic. I want to use less than 5 words per line, and that's just how I do it. I'm not a guru at presentations though, so don't look at me for advice. And the third comment says, I really liked how you put your own flair on this presentation. Yeah, I was going to actually meme on this presentation, but I guess I just wanted to be semi-serious. But if I went full meme, this video would have been more fun. Using the clip of the door and the Joe character was a great touch to make the presentation more interesting. I was just having fun in Photoshop in the middle of my work session. You have a very good presenting voice and style. My only suggestion would be a little bit more background information on bursae and the surrounding osteology, muscles, and other structures present. Overall, great work. Yeah, I would agree. I kind of skimmed over the knee part. I just explained the knee as the door. I thought that was enough, but I guess the osteology has something to do with my presentation, even though it had more to do with the bursae, and I feel like I could have explained that more. Maybe not the surrounding osteology as much, because I think other presentations like the Osgood-Schlatter disease or whatnot can explain that with better detail and it's more relevant to the presentation. But for me, it's more having to do with these sacs in your knees. Yeah, sacs. That's what I said. Anyway, the last comment, I enjoyed your presentation style. It seemed very natural, like you have a YouTube channel for a hobby. Probably. I probably do, yeah. Great production quality with clear audio and video. Besides the part where I spoke into the mic with peas, I felt like there was an appropriate level of detail which made it easy to take in all the information, especially under 7 minutes. 6 minutes 30. I'm proud of that because a lot of people went to 7 minutes. Not saying my presentation was better though, some people had great presentations. I also appreciate the simple, clean layout of your slides. Well done. Thank you. Hopefully I do decent, because I do need these marks. Actually, do I? I'm not even going to be in school for the most part next year. I don't know, guys. It's just, well, I'm trying not to fail, which I don't think I will, but the exam will seem kind of difficult because I wasn't really attending class for this class. Anyway, let's see my rubric for the peer evaluation. Well, this is good. The ones are the best mark for these two, so don't worry about that. Well, I did get mostly everybody saying I did a good job. Besides, description of normal anatomy, got a 2. I mean, yeah, this guy. Yeah, I do feel like simple is good, and I feel like simple was all I could fit in this presentation. But I don't completely disagree with this because I did not explain it to a big amount of detail. Description of prevalence or impact. Yeah, I went over it a little bit too fast. I guess some people were just kind of breezing through it. Appeared evaluation just gave me fours. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me react to my own presentation. You can judge me if you want for making this easy content, but I don't really care. It's my channel. I just post whatever I want because sometimes I just don't have the time. And maybe this is even better than some of my usual videos. Anyway, that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe with post notifications on so you don't miss another upload from me. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.